Ron Kinsley, Mark Helwig, Ed Peters, Chris Rusk, Brian Bissonette. You have a quorum.
Okay, you have a quorum. Thank you. Next item is pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Thank you. Verification compliance open meeting law.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Five, the agenda is set. Number 6, public comment. Mr. Freeman?
I was just talking at one of these at our muskie hunt fishing tournament last week. So I'm Harold Treeland, president of Treeland Cottages, Inc., otherwise known as Treeland Resorts out on the Chippewa Flowage, about 16 miles east of here. We are celebrating our 95th year this year, and we have our 3rd and 4th generation operating the resort right now. And the 5th generation is this tall, and they're creating havoc on the grounds. Our resorts are on several different properties. I'm more concerned with the ones right now in the town of Hunter and the township around Lake. Our Timber Cove property is 13 3-bedroom, 3-bath units in the township of Hunter, off of Highway CC in Twin Bay Road. That is open to ATV, UTV traffic, but only going south. You go a half a mile north and you hit Highway B and you're stopped. You can't go east, you can't go west, and there's no road north. So that costs us lost revenue. We can get nothing from the north. Our other property, our main property, the main resort, consists of 38 1 to 5 bedroom rental units, a lodge, a restaurant, a bar, and a 75 unit RV resort. We cannot legally, you have zero access to that property with an ATV or a UTV. Highway B is closed. We are isolated. It costs us substantial loss of revenue. If you come down Highway 3 or Fire Lane 319 from the north, from Cable, Moose Lake, you hit Highway B, you can go down River Road and hit Deerfoot, Johnson's Resort, Muskie Tail, Deer Run, but then you can't go anywhere else. You can't go east. There's 15, I believe, at least 15 active resorts on the Chippewa Flowage. That leaves at least 11 of them unaccessible. And Treelands is one of those, totally inaccessible to ATV, UTV use. It's all about connections. Opening up Highway B connects the north to the south, connects Lake Woods, Garmisch, Clam Lake, Cable, Moose Lake. It connects that down to the Chippewa Flowage and all the businesses on the Chippewa Flowage and beyond. Opening up Highway B, a 3.9 mile stretch of road, opens up all of those businesses to potential revenue sources from ATVs and UTVs. When I ride around, and I've got a new UTV, and it's not like they're a bunch of junkers. I mean, these things are expensive. You insure them. I mean, you treat them well. I ride up the Clam Lake. Don't ask me how I got to 319, but I ride up the Clam Lake. I got a cold. And, you know, we take fire lanes, we take snowmobile trails, and we wind up in Clam Lake. I'm driving along Double G. I'm driving along Highway 77, for Pete's sake. They're all open. Double G is open from Loretta all the way to Clam Lake. I wouldn't want to ride that on a UTV, but it is. And then they use a connecting system of town and county roads up there. You're on M, you're on D, you know, it connects everything up. And these are all busy highways and they have no problem. I just read today that in the last 20 years, they've had 0 ATV incidents as far as the safety aspect. I was with some friends over in Saint Germain. Again, beautiful access, town, county. I'm riding down State Highway 70 in my UTV, connecting up. It's all about connections, getting things, tying one trail to another trail. And they do it very well over there. Washburn County, I did a little tour by vehicle on Washburn County. And I'm amazed at how they, you know, they do a good job of connecting sites. I found one, I was on M or somewhere, and I saw a side road, a county road, and it had UTV, you know, ATV access, whatever. I followed it and only went for about a mile, but it stopped at an RV resort. I said, wow, what a novel idea. Open up that RV resort, you know, to some outside business or some business of their own. We lose revenue. I had a warden, this is about 2 years ago. We had a guy lost. Well, he wasn't staying at our place, but it's a Sunday morning. Here comes this ranger, Polaris Ranger driving in. The kid is lost. He came from Moose Lake, hit 319, hit B. He had no map. And it's the middle of the morning. So he drove down the road. Unfortunately, he met a game warden. The game warden must have had a bad day because he followed him into our place, read the guy the riot act, and gave him like a $250 ticket. The guy was scared to death to leave. We wound up putting his UTV on one of our trailers and drove it back to 319 for him so that he could safely go up. He would not, and believe me, we never saw him in Sawyer County again. He's gone. Revenue is gone. Person's gone. I had a call just last week, 6 couples. They wanted to come up, rent 4 RV sites in 1 cabin for 4 nights. That's an easy $2,000 bill. Easy for us. When I'm explaining to the guy on the phone, they wanted the UTV, do some of the fall festivals and all up here. And I said, you cannot legally take your RV from our RV resort. You cannot access the trail. It's 1.5 miles down the road. You have the trailer to be legal. He asked me this about 5 times and he could not understand why in the world, you know, it wasn't open. I said, it's not open. I don't have an explanation for it, but it's not legal to do it. They wound up going to cable. I tried to get them over to Nelson Lake. I tried to get them to Hayward. He said, no, we're going back to cable. So there's at least $2,000 down the drain, gone. You multiply that by 10, you multiply it by 15, you multiply it by 20, you're starting to talk a lot of dollars. It's about connections, opening up the roads, connecting one trail north to south. If you look at a map, an ATV, UTV map, you will see this tremendous circle void around the Chippewa Flowage North. There is no access. And if you're a person, ATV and UTV in, there's no access. So you don't go there. I had 5 people the other day. This was Tuesday or Wednesday night after Labor Day, when it's just a total dead period of time. And the lodge is just about empty. And I'm walking into it and I see 5 Polaris Rangers parked in our parking lot. I went, oh God, I have no idea where they came from. I had no idea where they were going, but I know that they sat in there and they were about our only customers that night. And they spent about $250 on dinner, and they left a high school senior who was serving a $50 tip. I know that. So it's about revenue. It's about connections. Then you talk about safety. In the, almost 5 years, there's been 3 reported ATV accidents in Sawyer County. Bayfield, I just said, has 0 in 20 years. When you go east and west, the results are the same. So I implore you, you know, to do something about connecting these resorts connecting the North Cable, Moose Lake. It takes from our Timber Cove property to legally go to Louis Landing and have his great chicken on a Wednesday night. It's a 124-mile round trip from our Timber Cove property to legally do that. If you go down B, it's 24 miles. So that tells you the importance of connectivity. The safety issues speak for themselves. I just implore you to take some kind of a look at how we can open up Highway B, open up S, connect some of these trails together, and move on. Thank you for your time. I appreciate all your efforts here, and I thank you for your time.
Ms. Zomer?
Linda Zilmer, resident of the village of Birchwood in Washburn County, and Edgewater property owner, 4th generation, as long as Treelands at least. I have brought to this committee for the last 2 years, maybe 3 years, the Washburn County ordinance. I think you just heard Mr. Treeland talk about his experience in Washburn County. Washburn County, with their ordinance, which you have all seen, tries to balance the people who are up here for peace and quiet and enjoyment with recreation. This committee has not even brought the terms of that ordinance up for discussion, but Washburn County limits hours of operation. When they do their annual, just one time of year, consideration in opening routes, part of their checklist is whether the local town has adopted the county ordinance so that law enforcement, whether it's local or county, has a similar set of rules to enforce. I know of several people in the Edgewater area who have second homes there or who are residents who it's gotten to the point where the second homeowners don't come up on weekends. I was sitting in one yard on East Shore this weekend, and every time wheelers went by on the road, we just had to stop our conversation because you couldn't talk over the sound. So, you have people who have invested here for also generations, and it's about balancing rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody online? Okay. Thank you, folks. Number 7, consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of August 9th. Any questions regarding the minutes? Motion by Mr. Halwig, second by Mr. Rust to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Sawyer County Airport report. Derek called and he's got a sick child at home, so he's not going to be with us. He did provide us with a report. If anybody had a chance to look at it, any questions on the report? Ask Mr. Alvarado to highlight things for us, please.
Yeah, I'll highlight a couple sections. The master plan work continues. There's really nothing happening with us necessarily, but Kaufman Associates, with the other consultant involved, has been doing the forecasting for kind of what they call the fleet mix, which was looking at the type of planes that land or utilize our airport and what they need for capabilities in terms of the runway. So that work is nearly complete. The next planning meeting, they're expecting to be towards the end of October. Derek has been hearing from more airport users and neighbors in regards to the master plan. So just wanted to reassure the public and those interested that there will be, there's a kind of a steering committee that we set appointed to work with the consultants on the master plan, but there will be at least three public meetings that will be publicized where the public will be able to comment and review the work of the master plan committee. So that work is ongoing. Derek and I did have a conversation on based aircraft numbers. Part of some of the funding that the airport was allocated during the times of ARPA and the bill at the federal level was based on number of aircraft, and early on, because we have a number of seasonal airplanes, we have hangars, but there's not always an airplane there. We didn't have all of our base aircraft recorded. Derek's done a good job of getting that number up and getting everybody into the system. There's actually a base aircraft database where you have to go in and at the airport level and update your planes that are based at the airport. And so now we have 34 aircraft that are considered to be based here, either full or part-time. The airplanes can only be based at a single airport, even if they're here part-time. If they're part-time here and part-time at another airport, only one airport can claim them. So Derek's done a good job of grabbing them so they're within our database. He's been reporting to me throughout the summer, and he highlights it in the report that this summer's been much improved from last year, which is good for him as an FBO operator and good for us as the airport owner. Per our FBO agreement, we get a percentage of those sales. So fuel's up, the number of car rentals is up. The work he's done for, when those larger jets come in, they need services, they need their restrooms flushed out, that type of thing. We get a percentage of all those costs that he bills those airplane owners for. Right now, we did also have a discussion with the Bureau of Aeronautics regarding our funding. And after our petition was approved, we are going through the process for the new snow blower. The state will bid that out. It's a kind of generic, I would say specs, not generic, but very specific specs. A number of different vendors could bid on it. At this point, though, with the timeline that they have for their bid, we'd be very lucky to see that piece of equipment before the end of winter. Just that's kind of what we're expecting. The good news is, though, that after the early part of last winter and having to rebuild the snow blower linkages and the gears last year, it worked really good. Probably once we got to January through the rest of winter. So we're hoping that it holds together for another winter. And forestry's been out at the airport using our new skid steer and brush hog that we acquired last year in capital projects. That's being shared amongst the maintenance department in the wintertime and out at the airport. Forestry's operating it to get some of the brush cleared out. We've been talking about that because that's probably some work that's been put off to the side year upon year upon year. And now it's really time to catch up. Really inside the fence, we should have all the brush down to knee height or below so we can control the growth of it. And there are areas where it's waist high and there's areas where it's some of those small trees are 12, 15, 20 feet high. So eventually those will become part of the flight pattern or in the flight path and we'll have to do something. So it's relatively dry this year. So they've been getting caught up in a lot of the areas that are usually wet. But yeah, it's been pretty good. And I was going to mention, I was out there to see him a couple of times and he's got a lot of his work done at the terminal building. So it's per the management agreement that the county negotiated with him almost 5 years ago now. You leased him the terminal building. And then he had the ability to fix it up. So he's remodeled the majority of it. Bathrooms are nice. The waiting area is all redone. So if you're ever out in that direction, pull up to the fence, it'll open. And then you can drive in and go take a look. The only things left that we put in our capital projects was a new front door. That's the door is in town, hopefully installed before the end of this month. And then we told them to go ahead and get a quote for the remaining windows that haven't been changed since it was constructed. A lot of those have the gas is no longer inside the two panes. So we'll probably end up putting the windows in hopefully this year, but maybe next year. It looks like very nice building. Yeah.
Yes.
Andy, I don't recall, when's the runway going to be done? Is it 2024 or 2025?
25 now. It was supposed to be 24. The state allocated and other airports in front of us when projects were ranked. And so the funding was gone by the time it got to ours. So we had put in for a federal grant that was denied. So now we're still sitting at 2025. It's really for next year. Well, that's as long as I've been here. Maybe it was originally 23 and everybody already been pushed out, but I know.
I think it's been.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Kinsley, did we do the maintenance report?
No, you skipped over that. Maintenance.
Well, just want to make sure you're paying attention.
Yep.
Also, Number 8, the maintenance report is available for your review. I talked to Mr. Hagberg today. He went over the report with me, and he seems to be pretty satisfied with his employees, what they're getting accomplished. That's why he started adding that in there. He said, "You'd be surprised how many requests we get during the day." So he started putting that in there just to show things that are going on.
Yeah, he has been, I think, maybe during the construction project. I always think things got lax, but they do have that Akita Box portal. And he's trying to get employees to go back to using that rather than talking to an employee or to him about getting this done or that done. That way we have a good log of what they are doing. And it's easier for them to schedule their work when they've got all those requests in one spot.
Number 10, Highway Commissioners Report. Mr. Pino. Welcome.
Thank you. Crews completed paving and shoulder operations on both County S and W. The crews did an excellent job out there. We received a lot of positive feedback for both projects, and we actually completed both projects under our budget, our county budget for road construction. So we're also going to move forward and continue with County AA, that's 792 feet in Stone Lake that connects to Washburn. We're gonna get that paved probably starting the first week of October.
Good.
Mowing operations have been completed on state highways. We currently have 3 mowers on county roads. I believe all we have left to finish up is E and K. And then that'll be completed. We started the crews back up with storm damage cleanup last Friday. We're gonna continue throughout the fall and winter to meet our deadline. We finished up County C last Friday. We moved our excavator down to County F between Redaway and Chapel. We're gonna start there and work our way through County F now. I sent out requests for qualifications on August 29th. I'm looking at a new construction project in County B from Chippewa Trail to Frog Road. That would include the reconstruction of County K and B intersection. I have contacted the state for a position of a night watchman for the winter season that runs from November 15th to March 31st. The state will compensate us 50% of the wage. We've never had a night watchman here in Sawyer County, and I received on Tuesday that the state will allow it. So we're looking to fill that position. I think that's gonna be great. Hours would run right now, Wednesday night through Sunday night, so we would have a presence in over the weekend in the county. So I think that's a great thing. What's that? The duties will be, so with the state covering 50-50, they'll be patrolling the roads, taking phone calls, kind of eliminate some of the phone calls of patrol soup, so they can be out plowing the town and stuff if we get snow. So I mean, I think it's really good.
That's something new that we haven't had before.
The scrub seal application was completed on State Highway 77 from Hollywood Road, 4.6 miles towards the Ashland County line. That was completed, I believe, a couple weeks ago. Also, I had GPS installed in all of our state trucks. Monday and Tuesday, they finished up yesterday. It was all state funded. And we have everything up and running, so we'll be able to monitor our state trucks on the roads and know where they're at. I hope I'll sell a lot. The guardrail incidents on County E and then State 48, both have been fixed. We did receive the invoice damages and the claim were sent to the people for reimbursement. And there currently is still 3 vacancies for driver operator positions in Hayward, Winter, and Radisson. And our patrol superintendent position is still posted. We did conduct interviews on Tuesday for candidates. We have yet to make a decision. I also did conduct an interview for another operator driver in Hayward that I'm going to move forward with. Just waiting for Rose to get back. That completes my report.
Questions? Yes.
So, John, on your report, you have the request for qualifications on the construction project on B from Chippewa Trail to Frog Road. I guess my question is, what does the reconstruction of County Road B and K intersection, is that just a repaving?
No, so those lights have been, the lights currently at the intersection are outdated and need to be improved. And it's quite a bit of money to redo the cabinets and everything. So I actually did contact Jason Weaver on this, and we're talking about possibly incorporating a roundabout in that intersection.
Okay, because that's why I asked that question, because I know I had talked to Gary probably about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because the immediate concern was there wasn't enough room for a roundabout, but apparently there is, so that's,
Yeah, that's why I requested to see, and they'll have that all surveyed out, and so hopefully.
I don't think we had drawings yet. They did a preliminary to check. how-
Space.
Mhm.
That's what I recall.
And those are due the 21st, so I should have something on the 21st with drawings to look at and see. But I will get with Jason on that too and keep everybody informed. Thank you.
Okay. Letter B, driveway utility permits. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I already let the chair and John know that we have not completed the ordinance draft. I did give him a draft, but at this point I have not had a chance to work with the attorney to go through the draft and make sure it's ready as far as the driveway ordinance, and we haven't even drafted up a utility ordinance yet to go with the application. John can still do the permits at this point as we've been doing them, but I just apologize and I'll try to get that back for the next meeting. We've been working on multiple ordinance updates from animal control to zoning to this and just haven't been able to get it done here to get it back to the committee. It's on the list. Yeah.
John, can you share roughly, you said you've been getting a lot of requests for permits coming in,
Yes, we've been getting a lot, yes.
so that's gonna move it up the priority a little bit.
Yeah, utility and driveway permits, both of those permits I have, we've been getting a lot in.
May I just make one comment that came up at another meeting that Ed and I were on as far as the broadband. When we do the utility applications, we still do have the broadband forward ordinance as part of our county ordinances. All the broadband providers had nothing but, positive things to say about the permit process in the county, but we'll just have to keep that in mind with the utility or permits, that we want to keep those streamlined for the broadband as they go through.
Are a number of those permit requests for broadband installations down in the winter area?
There's a few, a lot of them are Power, Jump River XL, your typical.
Letter C. County Road C and W, speed reduction, discussion on possible action, County Road C.
Okay, I'll start with County Road C. So we had a lot of complaints. This is down by Leamington. Of people speeding through. There's 2 35-mile-an-hour corners right there, and the traffic that comes out of Leamington, it switches to 55 miles an hour, right from 35 into 2 advisory corners of 35 miles an hour. And there's 2 driveways there, and the visibility isn't the greatest. And there's been some close calls down there. So I was recommending that we would reduce the speed limit to 45 from Orchway Lane south to 1,640 feet to Swift Creek. The total section is about a half mile. Right now, the current speed limit, like I said, 55 with 2 sharp corners. ADT is 260. There hasn't been any accident history. I look back in the 10 years there, but there has been a lot of close calls. And it was approved by the Traffic Safety Committee at our last meeting to reduce the speed.
So it's 35 from Leamington to Swift Creek?
Yep, right there it changes to 55, and then from me to Andy Way, there's a 35-mile-an-hour corner here and a 35-mile here, and then you got that. Yeah.
So it's 35.
They're advisory signs, not 35 miles an hour, just advisory.
But you're gonna actually put it down.
To reduce it by 10 to 45, yeah.
Motion by Mr. Russ, second by Mr. Peters to reduce the speed zone from 55 down to 45 between the 2 areas. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries. Now you need a copy of that minutes, you said? For that? You need a copy of the minutes?
I don't need a copy of minutes for that, no.
And then we have number 2, County Road W, north of town, going by the trailer court. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is another area we've been having a lot of complaints, and there's a trailer park right there that students get on the bus. There's a lot of heavy commercial traffic through this area. There's been a lot of people calling to stop in the office, so I went out and looked at it. Again, I would like to reduce the speed. It goes from 35 to 55 and Turcotte's Corner right there, you know, you can't take that at 35 miles an hour. And I did look at the accident history in the last 10 years, and in 2013, we did have a teen driver injury on that corner. And we also, in 2015, we had a 65-plus-year-old driver injury on that corner. So I would like to reduce that speed from County Road W and Armstrong Street to a point 2,800 feet north of the Turcotte Road, past the corner. It's about a little over a half a mile stretch, and that would reduce it from 55 to 45 and then continue back to 55. We did discuss this at our traffic safety committee. I didn't get it on the agenda. We had formal approval, or we didn't have a formal action taken, but we did have everybody in favor of it. And it's on the meeting minutes, I believe, that I added. In the traffic.
I make a motion to approve the speed zone on County Road W 245.
Motion by Mr. Elwig, second by Mr. Russ to approve the reduction of speed from 55 down to 45 on County Road W in the area specified. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. See that Thorson Road right there, Mr. Alvarado? See that Thorson Road on that corner? Where I grew up. Someday when I finish growing up. All right. Traffic Safety Committee minutes. Anything you want to share with that?
I just provided those for.
Okay.
Yep.
Letter D, Monarch Paving bid approval, discussion, possible action.
Can we go back to those minutes for a second?
Yes.
I did contact the state about the red, we had the flashing red lights on the stoplights at the intersections, and the state did get back to me. And there's not enough accident history at those intersections to install them. They said we could install flashing yellow lights at our stop ahead, but as far as putting flashing red lights on our stop signs, we can't.
What intersection?
We had quite a few. We had D, K, F. There was one in Winter, I believe on W, and we had to remove them all by the state.
Yeah, because F used to have a yellow. But it used to be midway stop.
Yep, we had to remove everything off the stop. And I sent them all the intersections. I'd like to put them back up, but
That's sad because I thought they did a lot of good.
right. Especially the one down by Excellent on D.
Letter D, Monarch Paving.
This is just, I would like the approval of our Monarchs Paving hot mix asphalt bid of $62.55 per ton. So I can complete our reimbursement. I didn't know this wasn't approved before I arrived here. I just need the committee's approval of that price.
I'll make a motion to approve the hot mix asphalt water mix to $62.55 per ton.
Motion by Mr. Howig to approve the bid, second by Mr. Peters. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yes. Pardon? No.
Not this one.
Yep.
Speed
We brought
zones?
the other ones to the county board. Yep.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
Lynn, I have a question for you. how hard is it to incorporate the minutes of this meeting right in to cover that? Example, whatever, however you listed on the county agenda, county board agenda. Sometimes you can just include the minutes right in there with it.
These minutes,
Correct.
they could be put on the agenda easily.
Yeah, to go with each line item. I think that'd be helpful.
We'll figure that out.
Also might make the rest of the board, committee members, board members read the rest of the minutes.
Sure.
Thank you. Number 11, courtroom remodel update.
Okay, I hope to have a specific answer breakdown. Closing all the projects tonight, we haven't quite there yet. Still have work to be completed by the TV contractor, and we're still, not on a building. Project. They're still working through, say, the efficiency of the building, or use the contingency fund primarily. We only did a Zoom call earlier this week, the orders that, so Myron and Venture. Orders up to speed with the few key items within the project that really created the contingency fund. Big one being the fire code compliance issues that not funded bid have been done at the project along. I use up a considerable amount of contingency funds to get a chance to either talk to Myron prior meeting with me, and then I brought that for that discussion. I don't have any feedback, we're not talking about numbers yet, but it's getting more up to speed so we can go have a better conversation about numbers. What we find, what we might expect to lose. That being said, until we come out that we spent $50,000 extra on these compliance items, but we are going to expect to get off $50,000. Part of the bid, to begin with, we're focusing in on is what the cost of doing the project is. How much cheaper would it be as part of the bid that we do. So the rest of it in that. At this point, I have the preliminary numbers that we tried to project out. We tried to project where we're going to end up with this, and as of right now, I mean, we're going to be over the original project budget, but no, we don't expect to be over more than what we told you in June when we asked for, on behalf of the construction manager, the additional contingency fund. We expect, I think that was 120,000. We expect to be within that when we get all the bills paid up. Of that project, there was 1.452 million, just round numbers. That was our responsibility. That was not part of the construction manager contract. Their contract was the 8.6 million plus the 55,000 change order for additional security items. So right now, we're over on the construction manager portion, but even our portion at the county level, we're projecting that to be about 1.5. No, about 50,000 over. And that's the key items there. The city of Hayward costs, those were on pretty much on the mark. There was additional, we had in the project budget for our portion of the budget, there was $11,536 included for asbestos and hazardous material abatement. And that ended up being closer to $40,000. Just that included the asbestos surveys that had to be done and then the actual removal. So those were higher than projected. The furnitures and fixtures was budgeted at 121,000, and right now we're closer to 130,000. And we don't even have all the. There's more. I'm going to talk about this at the end. The furniture that we did get, wasn't all the furniture we needed. So that portion's over. Right now we're under the AV. The original estimate was 204,000, and we're projecting to be at 190. So we did save some there. This one, and I mean, this one has quite a bit of work yet to be done, and then there's components for both courtrooms that are had to be subbed in until what we had planned on getting is here probably in October is what they're estimating now. That's already, that's in that 190. Yep. That's in the projection. Trying to think of anything else that was over. Yeah, those are probably the big items there. Oh, and there was a additional utility locate XL. We had to relocate fiber for 26,000 and then, which was included in the budget, but the overhead utility relocates for XL with 15,000 weren't in the original budget. That was primarily to do with moving the veteran service building out and rerunning the lines for that. So we are getting closer. As far as what's happening in the building, most of the punch list items are done. We expect to get a certificate of substantial completion from the construction manager, indicating that all those items are crossed off, and then the architect will verify that. And then we haven't paid out that contract. We still have a retainer of $577,000 is what's left to pay on that construction management, and we're not going to pay that out until we have everything else resolved.
I have not had any work while being stuck in this work.
I mean, as far as operations of the building, it's been going pretty well. I think there's, kind of iron out the HVAC issues. We'll see here as, these are the tough times of the year, spring and fall, when it's 40 degrees in the morning and 60 degrees in the afternoon. You're sometimes running AC and heat at the same time, but so far this week it's been all right. We do. I believe they're either, I'm not getting them, so I'll have to double check. They'll hand all those over at the completion of the project. So I would anticipate we usually put those items in the clerk's office, I would think. And then I mentioned the office furniture. So for whatever reason, and I don't have an explanation, we've gone through and looked at the quote, and we got everything that we had ordered, but there was not any, and I don't know what the plan was, if they were they might have been waiting until the second courtroom was completed and the second judge was on board to let them have a say in it, but there was only a desk ordered for the judge's office. There was no chair, no table, no shelving or credenza. And then there were no chairs for the juror's box or the deliberation room for and attorney tables in the second courtroom. So at this point, if I was to say there's a priority, it's just the furniture for the judge's office, because right now we've borrowed chairs out of the Kansas Street conference room and extra tables we had in here that are being used in the second courtroom. But the total quote, the furniture for the judge's office is $2,000 and some shipping, and then the quote for all the chairs and tables for the second courtroom, if we want to do that at some point, is a little over $13,000.
We'll probably wait till the full budget comes in front of the board in October, November, then we can take care of that.
Yeah, I think the chairs and tables, the $2,000, we can squeeze that out of the maintenance budget in the interim just to make sure we got her all set up. But yeah, the chairs and tables, it's not a. Yeah. Yeah. And it turned out, I don't know if that was the reason, but it was much better to let her have some say, because it ended up, it's cheaper than Judge Ackles' office setup, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she just wanted a different layout of her office, which suits her better and how she does business, so it's fine, but I think it probably is making her more comfortable there as well.
Okay, any questions regarding the courtroom remodel update? Number 12, future agenda items. Well, we're gonna have the airport master plan update.
Okay. Yep.
Update on the,
Driveway permits?
Can we do correspondence first before we do future agenda items?
Yes, we can.
So I did want to bring up, I did email out to the committee, the correspondence we received from Kathy and the Trail Alliance regarding our ATV ordinance. And, you know, there's some components of it that they would like us to review, primarily the involvement at what level of town approval with ATV trail approvals. And so I sent it out to you. It's up to you. We're not going to debate that discussion tonight, but do you want it on a future agenda?
I invited us.
Yeah, and the only thing that I thought of after I sent it is you're gonna have a pretty busy meeting in October because you're gonna have all the ATV trail requests coming in. So it's probably, and that's, yeah. And we'd have to, I mean, to follow our ordinance, you'd have to amend, I mean, if you wanted to do that, or any trail that doesn't have a town approval, we really need to amend the ordinance to do that. So I guess my question is, do you want to, you're going to have a lot of business next month with just approving the ATV requests that are coming in. John, you said there's quite a few. You know, so it's up to you if you want to take this up at the same meeting or have it after, and how you want to do that. Assuming that you want to have that discussion.
Right now, the one coming up here, they're using the pitch, right? And that whole snowmobile trail type thing to go east. I believe so.
County vehicles approved for use there.
Yeah.
From 319 to Muskie Tail, but we have a trail alongside the road, which primarily was snowmobile trail.
So he is approved to be river riders?
That portion.
Okay.
Well, here's a question. Maybe we want to look at that before we approve the request.
That's, you know,
7% push off request.
No, I'm saying
Just put it
all the same,
up and-
all the same night, but we should have it on the agenda before we approve the request.
it's fine. I just want to point that out that October is the ATV approval month, trail approval month.
I would put that.
Yes.
Are we just gonna discuss that before the request? Because I won't even see any requests on my desk if they're not approved by the towns first.
Yeah.
For the October meeting, so.
Do you have any concerns for any of those you've got?
I actually haven't even looked at them yet because I usually don't look at them until they hit my desk, but nothing's hit my desk yet until town approval of all the routes that are in question right now, so.
Kathy, do you think that portion of that Mr. Truman's talking about would pass the town?
We've been trying.
Read.
So, but technically, we should probably,
Pardon me?
we should probably start that route at Wilkinsville. Store.
We're trying to open it up from Jenks Bait Shop all the way to 319, because those businesses also want access. That's town of Round Lake from CC, it's like 0.31 miles from CC to Jenks Bait Shop. And that's town of Round Lake, the rest is Hunter and Round Lake.
I had a question, Mr. Chairman. So now Bass Lake, my understanding is all their town roads are open outside the reservation boundaries. Town of Hayward has all their roads open. Now, if in fact you're requesting a segment of county road, do you still have to bring it before the town if in fact it's already been approved by them?
If it's already been approved by them?
Well, I mean, if they, like Town of Hayward, for example, they've opened up everything. And so you've already got that board action. Do you have to go back and?
I think it depends on how they took that. They approved all the town roads.
Oh my God. So that would be the question. Did they approve the county?
They can, well, they can on that level, but then we have to bring it
Right.
here and board of supervisors, but they typically just open all their town roads.
Yeah.
And
I don't think their motion included opening up, like, that they were, yeah, I think they opened up their town roads. I don't think they made any motions regarding county roads. Or included that in their ordinance or however they adopted that. So I think the Trail Alliance is still would still have to go to those towns and get that approval before it comes here. But just what I'm hearing is you want it on next month's agenda and you want it before we do the ATV route approval request.
I'm thinking about that. Now, if we were to make any changes in the ordinance, hypothetical, it still has to go before the full county board to get approval also.
Correct.
So I'm trying to think that through a little bit. So if we made any changes, we could still only approve what they bring forward to us that has met all the standards of the present ordinance. At least if there's any changes, the next time we bring it is April request.
May.
Okay.
Could
Keep
I
that
ask
in
a
mind.
question?
Yes,
Could I ask a question on that? Could they be approved contingent upon the board approving them at the
Yeah.
meeting?
yes, that could be made able.
Yeah, I was thinking through that. That'd be a lot of contingencies because it's,
Yeah, I would think we just go with what the current, instead of making, say, contingent on this, contingent upon that.
Yeah, well, then it wouldn't matter what order it's in. I was starting to think it through.
I'm just thinking honestly from those towns that currently have said no. Not right. I mean, you're gonna want to somehow, you know, it's like,
Maybe we should discuss after.
That's where I'm going now. After thinking about it.
yeah, 'cause I don't think you can get them through during the same process. You must need like amend the ordinance, county board amends the ordinance, and then they can submit the trail request.
With the travel request, and then to discussion.
Assuming that all happens, like,
Well, let's try to plan the best we can. All right?
okay,
Okay. Well, future, you got anything else?
no, that's it.
Future agenda items, we'll have the driveway permits, we'll have the airport master plan, and we'll have stuff for ATV, UTVs, the new routes, and we'll also put that new item on there for ATV, UTVs.
And John, update on the talk about?
Yeah, I should have an update on that.
Yeah, that could be a line item too also, please, Lynn. Does anybody have anything else? Thank you for your valuable time, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, sir.